Welcome to yet another beautiful day, and of course, a beautiful show here at Humans TV Africa. My name is Kato Mukasa, a Ugandan, and of course, in the studios is my colleague Dennis Bongole, who is going to be doing the slides. And you watch us live from where you are. We are a virtual TV that also has studios in different countries in the world. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, which is Humans TV Africa. Please do subscribe wherever you watch us from. The only way we can be able to reach out to you and do lots of impact is when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Humans TV Africa. Now, my name is Kato Mukasa, of course. I'll be encouraging you to write to us at Humans TV Africa at proton.me. That is our email. Our email is humanistvafrica at proton.me. Remember, we are a charity organization. We are not for profit. We are a charity organization. We are a company that is an NGO, NPO, as we know it in Europe and in the Americas. We are non-for-profit organization. We are Humans TV Africa. We have studios in Uganda. And of course, we have 4 studios in Uganda. We have 2 studios in Kenya. We have 2 studios in Nigeria. We have a studio in Zambia, a studio in Zimbabwe. And of course, we are opening up more studios. We're going to be having a studio in Zambia, in Egypt. We are planning a studio in Ethiopia. And of course, we are going to be adding very soon 2 more studios in Zambia. We are Humans TV Africa. And of course, we have a studio in the UK where you see me live right now. Now, we hope to invite you to join us. If you want to be a volunteer with us, you are a lawyer like me, you are a social worker, you are a journalist, you are a development worker, you are a researcher, you are a motivation speaker, you are a politician, you are a change maker, you are a humanist, you are religious, you are whatever you are, as long as we share common values. We want to invite you to join us. You can be a news anchor, you can be a reporter, you can be a researcher, you can be a panelist. We encourage you to write to us at Humans TV Africa at proton.me. The email is right before you. It is Humans TV Africa at proton.me. Write to us and say, hey, I want to work with you. Remember, we are an NGO. Don't come to us expecting money because we want to give you money. We will give you space and we will have your ideas shared. We are an NGO. We don't want you to have an idea that you are going to get money from us. But when you work with us, trust me, you'll get nodes and your projects will be sponsored. Money will come later. Work with us, support us, share our videos, like, comment. Who knows? This TV will reach places. Remember, our vision is to cover the entire world with our studios. We have just begun. We are looking for partners in the US, and very soon we shall be having studios in the US. We shall be having more studios in the UK, and we open up more branches and we get bigger and better each day. Now, if you want to advertise with us, I want to encourage you to consider advertising with us. We are Humanist TV Africa. Write to us. The email is humanisttvafrica@proton.me. Now, having said that, today I'm talking about education. Today I'm talking about education. And I'm saying the education system in the world is a sham. I'm not saying education system in Africa. No. I'm saying education system in the UK. I'm saying education system in America. I'm saying education system in Africa. That education system is hopeless, is a sham, and it must be revised. This is Kato Mukasa saying so, and this is episode 2. I'm saying our children are being miseducated, not only in Africa, but in Europe and in America. We need to rethink this education system. We need to think anew if we are going to have better world citizens. Our education system must be overhauled, must be changed to suit the times, must be changed to take away the lies that children up to now in the US, children are fed on lies. In the UK, still children are fed on lies. That's why humanists in the UK are advancing the idea that humanist education must be put on the UK curriculum. So I speak what I know. I tell you that even education system in the UK must be overhauled, must be changed to suit this century, to remove the lies people are told, to remove the indoctrination. Don't be in Africa and say UK is better. No, they are not better. It's a lie. They are not better. They may even be worse off. They're not better. They're not better. Their education system needs to be overhauled and changed for the better to teach a child who can think for themselves, not a child who thinks within the matrix, within the system. A child who thinks beyond the system, within the system, and outside the system. It is the education system I'm talking about today. And this is episode 2. And I'm going to be giving you some evidence to show you that indeed we need to change the way we teach our children. We need to change the education system. I've told you before, if you're watching me, I'm a student of Socrates. I'm a student of Plato. I'm a student of Aristotle. I'm a student of Karl Marx. I'm a student of Friedrich Engels. I'm a student of Friedrich Nietzsche. And I'm also a student of the likes of Wallace Soyinka, Chinua Achebe, Okot Pibitek, and many other scholars, of course, including Osman Sambane in Senegal, including Sheikh Ant Diop of Senegal, and many scholars. I'm a student of thinkers, not mediocre. And of course, I'm a student of my grandparents. One of them is none other than John Bassi, who is my hero, who is my grandfather, the father of my mother, and of course, my grandfather, Dominico Mukasa. Those two grandfathers taught me to think for myself as a child. And of course, my father did help me to think for myself by giving me books to think as a child, as a teenager. A book by Voltaire called Philosophical Dictionary changed my life, changed my thinking. By 11 years, I finished it, and by 12 years, I was rebellious. A book by Leo Tolstoy from Russia, a book called The Confessions, changed my way of life. I rejected religion at the age of 12 because the religion is nonsense. The religion is mythology. The religion is stupidity. It is believing in things you have no evidence about. It's believing in absurdities. When I read Voltaire's The Philosophical Dictionary, which was translated by a xylophone, no, that was Socrates, translated by xylophone. When I read Socrates' works as translated by xylophone, and when I read Philosophical Dictionary by Voltaire, John Mary Francois Voltaire, a Frenchman, when I read the works of the Greek philosophers, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates was my best thinker. And of course, when I read the works of the Russians, I loved the Russians. More so, I loved Leo Tolstoy. Thanks to my father, who was working with Uganda National Bookstore as an accountant. And I thank my father for always bringing books at home. My father made me a thinker I became because I had books and also because I read them. I was an avid book reader. I could always close my door and I read when people are playing football and doing all the nonsense. I was reading books. That's why by 12 years I thought religion was nonsense because I had read enough and I was anxious enough to understand. I read Voltaire. I told you the book is called Philosophical Dictionary. I read Leo Tolstoy. I told you the book is called Confessions. I read God is Dead by Friedrich Nietzsche, and I was very young. God is dead. And I said, this kind of education was very important to me. I read books by Wallace Inca, Kongi's Harvest, Brother Jello, and so many others. Of course, I read so many books by Chinua Achebe, including Things Fall Apart, which changed my thinking about colonialism and imperialism. When I read Things Fall Apart, I realized that the colonialists had given us a lie. They had changed our way of life in Africa. They had made us like their culture and made us think that our culture was bad. So you see, the education I'm talking about, I never got it from those schools I attended. I attended good schools, Catholic schools mostly. But those schools told me so many lies that up to today, I don't credit them. Sorry, my schools, and I was your best student, by the way. All the schools I went to, they can check their records. I was always their best student. And I speak it on TV. Thousands are watching me. I was always the best student in the schools I attended. But I don't credit the schools because they taught me almost nothing. I don't credit the schools I attended because they taught me almost nothing. I was reading on my own much of the time. I was reading ahead of the syllabus, and I was more sharper than some of my teachers because sometimes I thought they were teaching me nonsense, but I had to humble myself and learn from them. Now, our education system is dead. I've told you, you can check records. The schools I attended from primary to secondary and later on to the university, I always came first in any of those classes. I always topped first. My primary school, I was the best. My O-level school, I was the best. My high school, I was the best student. It's on record. You can always check it. But when I was excelling in those schools, I was looking at the loopholes in our education system. So I tell you today that even when I was getting some distinctions here and there, some A's here and there, excelling academically, I thought something was wrong with our education system. Up to now, I believe our education system only teaches people to cram and pass exams, doesn't teach people to think for themselves. I still maintain our education system, which I beat hands down until when I got frustrated and I thought reading much was no longer my thing. In fact, when I reached at Lord Vomit Center, I had lost interest in studies. I was only reading to simply pass the exams and leave. In fact, at LDC, I never put much attention in my class. I was dodging many of my classes. Yet, Lord Vomit Center to become an advocate was the most important element for a lawyer, but I dodged many of my classes. I was taking it for granted. But early on, I was a very good student. But by the time I reached 30s, I'd lost interest in our education system because it was hopeless. And I tell you it was hopeless because I have a second class degree in economics, second class upper degree in economics, and of course I have a first class degree in law, and I have a distinction master degree, LLM, in international commercial law. I got distinction throughout at master's level. You can always check it. Distinction master's degree in international commercial law. But still, I tell you that even when I was getting 80s and 70s at my master's level, I was getting 80s and 70s at my degree level. Academically, I have excelled. Everyone knows that who have been to school with me. It was always very hard to beat me in class. Those who have been in school with me, no, it was very, very hard to beat Kato in class. I would always beat them hands down. But I tell you still that I don't respect that education system. I tell you still, I don't respect that education system. I excelled at all levels. It was only at LDC when I'd lost interest in studying. But still, I passed it. I'm an advocate, I'm a trained lawyer, and I'm a qualified officer of the High Court of Uganda. But I lost interest in education. Completely, I lost interest in education. I chose to be a philosopher. I chose to talk, to share information, to teach others. I saw so much usefulness and uselessness in our education system. So I tell you today, if you want your child to think for themselves, I'm the example. I'm telling you, I went to class, I excelled. I have a first class degree in law. I have, if you can call it a first class at master's level, because it's all distinctions. I got distinctions at master's degree. And in international commercial law, where there's a lot of thinking and calculations, still I beat them. Still I excelled. My thesis at master's level is on money laundering. I know how countries launder money. I know how governments launder money. Yes, governments actually launder money. It may be very funny, but government officials are involved in rackets. I know how big companies launder money and make economies in Africa fail. I know because I read it at HSC, I read it at master's level, and I mastered in money laundering. Money laundering. That's my master's degree in law. I know how countries fail others. I know how companies cheat others. I know how companies come to Africa and cheat us. But I tell you, our education system must be overhauled. I tell you, we are not teaching people to think in our schools. We are not teaching people to think. We are teaching people to cram answers. We are testing people on their ability to memorize what they've been told. Now, my brain has always been sharp because whatever I read, I memorize. That's why I can tell you years of things I've read so many days ago. Because my brain is that smart. I can memorize. I can remember stuff. Now, if you are thinking that every one of us is going to have a good brain to memorize, it's wrong. It's like putting a lion in waters, in deep waters, to compete with a shark. It's like putting an elephant in deep waters, in a sea, to compete with a shark. An elephant cannot swim. An elephant is a lion on the ground, on land. A shark is a king in the sea, but a shark cannot climb trees. Yet a monkey can climb a tree. I don't know whether you get the analogy. A shark is good in water. A monkey is good in the forest. A lion is good on the land. An elephant is a king on the land. You cannot put an elephant, a monkey, a lion in the sea and tell them to compete with a shark. A shark will finish them. A shark will win them. You cannot pit a cheetah, a leopard, a lion, and put them in a race to run with a tortoise. You can't say it's going to have a running competition between a tortoise, a lion, an elephant, a cheetah to run. Definitely, a tortoise won't be able to run. Does it mean a tortoise is stupid? No. A tortoise can also be good in other areas. Now, our education system puts students who are gifted differently. Me, I'm gifted at memorizing issues. I'm gifted at research. I understand what you're teaching me, and I give it to you back. So that's why I was getting first degrees. That's why I got a first class at law, because my brain is that good. I memorize and I give you the answers. Does it mean that someone who got a lower class degree is fake? No. In fact, that person may be better than me 1,000 times. In fact, many of them are better than me 1,000 times. They have more money, they are good businesswomen, they are good businessmen. And I can be a failure at business. Now, does it mean that my having a first class degree makes me better? No, it does not make me a better person. People with lower class degree, people with pass degrees, people who never went to school can even do better than me. Now, our education system is a lie. Is a lie. You compare oranges with tomatoes, with mangoes, with apples, and you want them to sound, you want them to taste the same. Grapes, pineapples, bananas. You compare them in the same basket with avocados, with oranges, with other cereals. You are using the wrong method. You cannot get a bright student who can memorize issues, who has a photographic memory like mine. I have a photographic memory. I can easily remember stuff. Now, you compare me with someone who doesn't have the same memory. It doesn't make the other person stupid. It makes you, the teacher, stupid to think that all of us are going to think the same. We see things differently. Unless teachers understand that, until our parents understand that, until our hopeless governments in Africa understand that, that children are gifted differently. Some children are introverts, others are extroverts. Some can speak out, others are shy. Some are academically intelligent, others academically not so intelligent. But in practice, in field, in hands-on, they are good. One of my daughters is so good in practical things, very good in practical things, not so good in academic work. One of my other girls is so bright in class, very bright in class, but not so good in practical work. Now, you cannot compare the two daughters and think one is stupid, another one is intelligent. You are using the wrong method. Now, our education system is so flawed that wants to make children compete when actually their skills are different, when actually their talents are different. We cannot compete. But you want to make it a competition because you have designed a system to make people always compete among each other. I can tell you, I scooped so many awards when I was a student, and I will show you some of my awards with time. I scooped so many awards. I scooped uh, uh, awards when I got my first class degree. Actually, the president of Tanzania was the one to give me my award as the best in the university, as the best in the school of law, with the highest CGPA. Still at master's level, I had the highest CGPA. Now, academic achievements doesn't mean you are a success in other areas. But yet, they are selling us a product called education to fool everyone that when you get a first class degree, you are better. No, you are not better. I'm not better than anyone. I was only able to be good academically. I'm so bad in other areas. Now, our education system simply wants everyone to think that when you have a first class degree, you are better. No, you are not. They are telling everyone that education is the key to success. That's a lie. The question is, which type of education are you learning? It's a lie to say education is a key to success. It is a lie. The question I always ask is, which type of education is that key to success? Why is it that many graduates from Africa are washing toilets in foreign countries? Why? If education is a key to success. Why is it that many graduates from Africa are working as maids in Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Jordan? Graduates of mass communication, graduates of social work, graduates of education. From my country, Uganda, I know the names, are working as maids, as kadamas in Arab countries. Then you are telling me education is a key to success? How do you define success? Success with a degree to go and work for an illiterate Arab? Do you know what it means to have a degree, but you work for an illiterate Arab who treats you like a dog? Do you know what it means that I have students I've taught who are in Saudi Arabia working for illiterate Arabs when they have degrees? And this Arab can't even make one sentence correct so that they can communicate because she doesn't speak any other language apart from Arabic. And this graduate of education, this graduate who is a journalist, this graduate who is a social worker is working for an illiterate Arab in Saudi Arabia. So you tell me education is a key to success? You have to think again. Not the type of education our children are getting. That even with a degree in today's environment, your degree can be completely useless. Now, I want to advocate a method that was advanced by Socrates, the thinker I loved. Socrates used the approach, which we call the Socratic approach, where he was teaching students. And I can say he is one of the people who began the first universities in the world, a one-man teacher university, where he would organize a symposium. When I was doing some of his works, he organized what we call a symposium. And great thinkers come before him. Great students come before him. Students who are going to be kings, emperors, come before him. Aristocrats, nobles come before him. And he has a lecture in terms of a conversation. Socrates would ask questions. And then you give answers. And as you give answers, he probes further. He asks you more questions. Now, through questions, you would understand. It is called the Socratic approach. Then let us look at the photos we have for today's show to completely show, illustrate what I've been talking about. Remember, the topic is time to overhaul our education system, not only in Africa, but throughout the world. Now, look at that image. Someone goes to school to be told a lie that actually there was a God who made one man sleep and then made a woman out of that man's rib. You see how hopeless our education system is. He is teaching that theory to our students, that the other man who is God and we see is dressed in white made this man sleep and made a woman out of that. Hopeless. I didn't come from the rib of a man. Man comes through my womb. Very good woman. A black woman tells you, man comes through her womb. A black woman is vagina. A Caucasian woman is vagina. An Asian woman is vagina. Gave birth to a child. It's the birth canal. Don't be deceived. We come from women. We come from women. And as a result of a man mating with a woman. That's all. Richard Dawkins, one of the best thinkers, says, you believe that all humanity came from Adam and Eve, and humans have not evolved at all since? So tell me, between the two of them, which was black, which was white, and which was Asian? Then let's leave it there. Richard Dawkins, one of the best thinkers, has this question to ask you. You believe that all humanity came from Adam and Eve, and humans have not evolved at all since. So tell me, between the two of them, between Adam and Eve, which was black, which was white, and which was Asian? Of course, I want to tell Dawkins that there's no white people. Dawkins must educate himself to know that there are no white people, because that's another bias they give themselves. Look at Dawkins and tell me if he's white. Look at him and tell me if Dawkins is white. But he believes he's white. And that's the problem with these people, thinking that they are going to continue so carrying out with their own mythology and biases. So, Dawkins, I disagree with you there. You are wrong. You are not white. But the statement is correct. The statement is correct. We ask ourselves, where did the Caucasians come from? Where did the black people come from? Where did the Asians come from? If it was only Adam and Eve. So the Bible lied. Let's continue. One of the best thinkers of our days has got this quotation. He says, biology disapproves Adam and Eve. Engineering disapproves Noah's Ark. Cosmology disproves a sixth-day creation. Genetics disproves intelligent design. Statistics disproves the power of prayer. Geology disproves a young earth. Archaeology disproves Moses and the Exodus. Neurology disproves souls. History disproves religion being good. Physics disproves an omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent God. What a wonderful lesson there. We are learning. We are learning how to disprove biases using biology, engineering, cosmology, genetics, statistics, geology, archaeology, neurology, history, and physics. Educate yourself today. They are telling you lies in your schools. Let's continue. Look at this picture there. One is a mythology from your hopeless Bible. It talks about God became angry because they built a tower to reach the heavens. Hopeless. They call it Tower of Babel. But when you look at down there, but now he has no problem with the International Space Station. Look at the International Space Station, one of the tallest international space station. Now, why isn't God striking people who built the International Space Station? Is your God dead? See how your education is useless. It doesn't even teach you that. Let's continue. They have taught people in their hopeless education that there was a man called Uncle Jonah, and this hopeless man, in their hopeless book called the Bible, went to a place called Nineveh, and the transportation was a whale, a big fish that had swallowed him, transported him to a place called Nineveh. Can you imagine how stupid it can be for you watching me, believing that someone can actually go to another place inside a stomach of a fish? Look at the bones of a fish. Where is the space to keep a human being? In a fish. Don't be hopeless. Educate yourself and say no to mythology. Then we continue. Look at this. They are teaching it to our students. If Jesus didn't come back to save our ancestors when they were being kidnapped, raped, lynched, and thrown off ships to be eaten by sharks, why would he come back thousands of years later to save spoiled, obese, self-hating coons that don't even care to know who their ancestors were? Very good question. If God didn't help your ancestors who are being kidnapped and raped and lynched by these imperials, why would he care to come back and take care of you? Think again. Let's continue. Look at this image. Is it still wrong? They fear to call people Caucasian, they call them white. I repeat it, they are not white people, they are Caucasians. And the word white, the term white, is a racist term. They coined it in the US, in Virginia, after the Beacon Rebellion. This is when they coined the term white race. There is no white race. It's a lie. So where you see white, put there Caucasian. And then say black, then say straight, then say gay, then say religious, then say atheist, then say pirate. Now, all those people, in other words, whether you are black like me, whether you are orange in color, whether you're yellow, whether some people are yellow, look at them clearly. Some people are yellow in color, others are orange, others are purple, and others are black. Let them not tell you a lie that they are white. They are not white. Look at them clearly. Some of them are orange, some of them are yellow, some of them are purple, if you want. Others are black like me, others are brown. They are no white people. But all of us, whether gay or straight, religious or not, we have the same structure, the same number of bones, the same everything. Then let's continue. Look at this on the image there. You have a first degree, a second degree, and a PhD in what? In Quran and Hadith. You are still illiterate, my friend. I repeat this. If your degree, your first degree is in theology, your second degree is in theology, your third degree, which is a PhD, is in theology. Here you have a PhD in religious studies, in Quran and Hadith. My friend, you are illiterate. So if you know a PhD holder who tells you he has a PhD in religious education, please go and tell them to go to school and study. They are illiterates. Then let's continue. Look at this kind of cartoon. She says, Papa, I'm going to study with my friend, Mary. And the father says, at 5 p.m., that's what your mother used to tell her parents before coming to my place. You know, children are using education to tell lies to parents. Parents must wake up. Education is being used as a scapegoat. Then we continue. Look at this. I put it here to teach you something. Welcome to the 21st century. Our phones are wireless. Our cooking is fireless. Our cars are keyless. Our food is fatless. Our tires are tubeless. Our dress are sleeveless. Our youth are jobless. Mark that. Our youth are jobless. It's a rhyme. It's like a poem. Leaders are shameless. Relationships are meaningless. Attitude is careless. Wives are fearless. Babies are fatherless. Feelings are heartless. Education is valueless. I wanted to put their emphasis. Education is valueless, and children are mannerless. Everything is becoming less, but still our hopes are endless. In fact, I'm speechless. Just a poem for you to pick something out of our education system. Then as we continue, I want us to beat the time. Look at this. This is how education should be. You are all seeing the same thing differently. This one says figure 6, the other one says figure 9. Just because you are right doesn't mean I'm wrong. You just haven't seen life from my position. This is the essence of education. Not because someone has got a past degree that this person is stupid. No. There are things which this person can do better than a person with a first class degree. We are looking at things differently. Then let's continue. What is cognitive dissonance? I love this guy. I read his book. It's called Franz Fanon. I read this book the book is called The Wretched of the Earth. It's the book where he first got the word humanism. And the writer is Franz Fanon. Here he says, cognitive dissonance. Sometimes people hold a core belief that is very strong. When they are presented with evidence that works against that belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted. It would create a feeling that is extremely uncomfortable, called cognitive dissonance. And because it is so important to protect the core belief, they will rationalize, ignore, and even deny anything that doesn't fit in which the core in with their core belief. Exactly. Then leave it there for a minute. Cognitive dissonance is what is affecting graduates today. Call them Americans, they are learning a lot of nonsense. Call them Europeans, they are learning a lot of nonsense. That's why children come out half-baked and they say, I went to an American university, when they are still hopeless. Why? Franz Fanon called it cognitive dissonance. Sometimes people hold a core belief that even when you give them evidence, they will deny it. In fact, they will hate you. Why? Because they have been told to cram. They don't ask questions. They don't investigate. They have been miseducated. Then let us continue. Let us continue. The ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do it. I want you to get that one correct. The ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do it. Are you the person who's going to change the world? Be that person. Then let us continue. The older I get, the less I listen to what people say. I look at what they do. Yes, that is being educated. When you grow old, look at what people do, not what people say. Richard Ingersoll said this: it is 1,000 times better to have common sense without education than to have education without common sense. Exactly true. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Robert G. Ingersoll. People today have education without common sense. That's why a graduate will still have a bomb and denote himself in the name of a hopeless God called Allah. That's why a Christian with a PhD will still do absurdities, and he says it's because I'm a Christian. Hopelessness. You have education without common sense. Then let's continue. Humanity must shift from living on the earth to living with the earth. That is one of the thinkers from the Native Americans. Humanity must shift from living on the earth to living with the earth. We don't live on earth. I mean, we live on earth. We don't live without earth. We even neglect our environment. Our education system doesn't help us to think for ourselves. Pythagoras, the man behind a theorem, said this. And remember, Pythagoras, a Greek thinker, said this: the ability to listen to various doctrines, distinguishing between truth and falsehood, is a crucial skill to possess. False reasoning should be recognized and challenged. False reasoning should be recognized and challenged. That was Pythagoras. The ability to listen to various doctrines, listen to what people say, listen to something which you were not taught in school. Think for yourself. Distinguish between truth and falsehood. That's how you can be able to educate yourself. Then let's continue. This one said that work on things people can't take away from you. Things like your mindset, character, personality, transparency, and your entire being. That's education. To be educated means to work on things people will not take away from you. Work on your mindset, your character, your personality, your transparency. That is education. Then let us continue. As you grow older, you don't lose friends. We just learn who the real ones are. That's education. That is education. As you grow older, we know who are our real friends. Lao Tzu, one of the greatest Chinese thinkers, I love him. Lao Tzu said, those who understand others are intelligent. Those who understand themselves are enlightened. Do you understand yourself? This is what Lao Tzu asks you. He was there before Jesus Christ. Now, this is what Higgot had to say, one of the thinkers. He said that geniuses are like thunderstorms. They go against the wind. 35 people cleanse the air. Are you a genius? You can't be. You go against the wind. Then let us continue. Oscar Wilde, one of the best thinkers, who actually was persecuted by his own people, said this: most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinion. Their lives are mimicry. Their passions are quotations. Exactly. Don't be other people. Be you. Be original. That's education I'm giving you. Know thyself. That's what Socrates, my teacher, said. He said, know thyself, which means know yourself. So the question is, why is English language compulsory in our African schools, but agriculture or ICT is not? Here is the question. Why is English language compulsory in our schools in Africa? Yet agriculture is not compulsory. Yet computer studies are not compulsory. Let us teach people computer studies and agriculture first. English can come secondary. Then let's continue. The purpose of learning is to become an independent thinker, not a mindless follower. Do not follow others mindlessly. Think for yourself. Then let's continue. Look at Makerere University, Hope Place University. It gave a degree, they call it honorary degree, to Idi Amin. In a period, he had become the law of Uganda. In a period, he was issuing directives to become the law. That university made Idi Amin a doctor of laws. How shameful can that faculty be? Then let's go ahead. Ditch the man cave and bring back the study. Education, intelligence, thoughtfulness, logic, wisdom, kindness, and the ability to communicate are sexier than self-endowed materialism any day. Give people education. Let them be intelligent. Let them think for themselves. Logic, wisdom, kindness. That's what our education should be about. Look at these people. In Europe, they are studying STEM, the STEM system. That's the way to go, partly. If you ask me, STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that's the way to go. Teach our students STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's what some universities are teaching. That's what some schools are teaching in Europe now. What do we need now? Social skills skills need today are what? Number one, teach them how to compromise. Teach them how to negotiate. Number two, teach them how to express themselves. Number three, teach them how to think before speaking or acting. Number four, teach them how to be with a positive attitude. Teach them to follow directions, but also like directions on the road, Teach them how to using the self-control, how to self-control. Teach children using coping methods. Our children lack methods to cope. If there is anger, if there is poverty, teach them to cope in hard situations. Teach them how to deal with anger and frustration. Teach them how to see someone else's perspective so that they avoid being individualistic. They also look at other people's expressions and needs and desires. Teach your children how to express themselves, their feelings and thoughts. If it's something bad, a child must say no, not to sex, not to bad touches. Teach them to think. Teach kids to think. Teach them to understand personal space. Teach them to say no. Teach them to be good at sports. Teach them to appreciate the differences between people. They are gay people, they are straight people, they are Caucasians, they are Africans, they are Asian. Teach them to understand the world. Teach them the art of sharing. Teach them how to control their emotions, how to control their worries, how to have social clues on what's happening. Teach them history. Teach them current history. Teach them history. Teach them the future to forecast. Make them be able to solve conflicts. Make them to apologize. Make your children to apologize when they go wrong. And also teach them to accept consequences. These are things you should be teaching your children today, not nonsense. Teach them to think. I've just taken you through what you should be teaching your children today. Then, if you are done, yes, subjects that should be mandatory in schools. Here, I want to give you subjects that should be mandatory, a must in your school. Number one, teach children about taxes. It's very important to let them know about taxes so they can control their expenditure. Number two, teach your children about coding. Coding, we are in the computer world now. Number three, teach your children how to cook food. Today, I cook my own food. Teach your children how to cook food. Number four, teach them about insurance. Number five, teach them about basic home repair. How do you make a bed? How do you repair your house, your leaking roof? Teach them self-defense. How do you fight if you are being attacked? Teach your children self-defense. Number 5 or 6, survival skills. Number 7, social etiquette. Greeting people, holding doors for others. Teach them manners. Teach them personal finance. How do you handle money? Teach your children personal finance. Teach them in schools. Teach them how to speak, public speaking. Also teach them theoretical materialism, how to think, philosophy. Also teach them about stress management. These are issues you must teach your children today, not the nonsense they teach in schools. Teach them coding, insurance, mathematics, science, IT, stress management, emotional control, self-defense, how to cook. Those are the skills you should be teaching your children today, not the nonsense they teach them in schools. My name is Kato Mukasa. This was Time to Overhaul the Education System, and this is episode 2. Thank you, Dennis, for the production. And of course, I'll be back with episode 3. Of course, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our Facebook page is at Humans TV Africa. But also, if you want to challenge me, write to us, Humans TV Africa at proton.me. But also, you can volunteer with us wherever you are. You can have a studio right in your country. Write to us and say, I want to be an ambassador of Humans TV Africa in my country. We shall welcome you. See you in the next one.